Imagine getting pegged straight in the eye with one of these. This could actually like dig into your eye.
Dude.
Oh, you got that.
Let's go!
Tip of the tongue, the teeth, and the lips. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 30 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
Kyle, we got some pretty good reception from in the comments about you on the pod.
Thanks, everybody.
I feel like we got a good thing going. And we're just gonna get better.
All right, we're gonna get better. Yeah, we got a little roasting for the production, but we'll get that figured out. Bear with us.
It comes. You know, it's part of the territory. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're not audio engineers.
Keep lighting us up.
Keep roasting. Let's go.
All right, so we're just gonna start with some water cooler stuff. Talk about my trip to Joola. Then we're gonna jump over the Joola conference. Then we're gonna jump over to Kyle's corner with the PB news. Then we'll finish with some paddle babble and gear.
What's on the mind?
PP, polypropylene. It's always on the mind.
Picture profiles.
Picture profiles. Yeah, we're using picture profile 10 on our cameras. If you guys are wondering why this looks so good,
it looks better.
It looks better. But yeah, man. So tell me, I was in New Orleans this week at the kind of the Joola launch introduction of their new Alpha series. So they got Tyson's paddles, Simone's, Anna's, and Colin, and then Ben John's, of course. So they got that new line coming up. So that was really fun. What was your week looking like?
I played a lot of pickleball. Did a lot of filming. That was about it. Dad life.
Any films you were particularly stoked about?
I filmed kind of like an emo start of my day, pickleball, like hitting the courts that got a decent reception. I was trying something a little different, but that was it really.
How many days a week do you play? I feel like you're here every time I'm here.
I hope my wife's not watching this.
Does she not know?
No. She's definitely not watching this.
You're sneaking off from work? She has no idea?
I mean, I end up here a few lunch breaks a week. So, no, I try to play 3 days a week is what I aim for.
You're here more than 3 days. Okay, so maybe 3 days, but you're doing like 2 a day.
Sometimes I'm doing 2 days. It's not helping my pickleball game, though.
When you're talking into your mic,
oh,
just make sure your voice is honestly either rotate it towards me a little bit, or something like that.
Like that? Sorry.
Yeah. No, we're good. That's funny to do.
Do we need to restart now?
No.
Audio engineers are going to rip us apart.
You can leave that in there. You know, it's part of the.
That's true.
Part of the deal here. But yeah, man. Well, tell us a little bit. Okay, you and I both are kind of a similar stage of life. We both have a few kids.
Yep.
How many kids you got?
2 kids. One is almost 5, and then my daughter's almost 2.
So I got a 5, 3, and 3 months. So they're pretty close.
Ooh, 3 months. No sleep for you.
She's actually a better sleeper than my 3-year-old. My 3-year-old has been horrible her whole life. She still wakes up in the middle of the night. She just is so scared of the dark. And she comes and gets in our bed, and she's just so sensitive about it. If we ever try to talk about it, Halsey, you need to learn to stay in your bed, and she just loses it.
Dad, you're being mean.
Yeah. Funny that. But she just learned how to ride her bike this last week.
Like no training wheels?
No training wheels.
My 5-year-old can't even do that.
Oh, yeah?
Well, yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
Apparently your ward.
I know. Jeez.
We had her on a balance bike early, and but she's a little more timid and scared to do things, try things than my 5-year-old is. Mm-hmm. So we were really proud of her for figuring it out. And but yeah, she was so happy. Like, it's so fun. It's fun to live those moments where like they figure those things out.
When you see like the light click.
The light click.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the cool things about
Absolutely.
being a dad. But that was fun. And then, but yeah, so I was in New Orleans.
Alligator?
I did. I tried the alligator. I had the beignets.
Okay.
So the alligator, I had that the first day. I was sitting with it was Chris, Brian, John Q, and I. We were just eating at this kind of random place by the hotel that first night, eating dinner. Alligator was on the menu. It was an appetizer.
Okay.
I was like, there it is. First day, first restaurant.
Don't even have to go looking.
Dude, you have to go looking. So I was like, I gotta do it. I'll just buy it right here. So I got the appetizer. It was in kind of like, so it came in chunks.
Was it breaded and fried?
No, so they had a breaded option or a blackened, and I opted for the blackened alligator. And I'm glad I did. I mean, I don't know what the breaded one tastes like, but it was actually pretty good. So John Q had some with me, and he described it best, I think. He's like, it's a mix between chicken and fish.
Okay.
And I was like, that makes was like, that's what I'm tasting. Like, he's obviously a reviewer.
Yeah.
He can explain things.
He's a reviewer with a good palate.
Yes. And then I had the beignets, not bidets.
No bidets.
So like there's like a big famous beignet place. It's got like the green,
Okay.
like I don't know what stuff you sit under, like the umbrellas or whatever. Anyway, so I ended up going there a couple times, and it's just I didn't know what it was before we had talked about it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a dense scone with just caked in powdered sugar.
Yeah, powdered sugar.
And it was good. But
Was
like,
my description of it good?
Yeah,
like,
you nailed it.
Okay.
But like I was not ready for the amount of powdered sugar that was on this thing. Like you go for a bite, if you take a breath before you eat
start
it,
coughing.
like you just inhale it.
Oh.
Like you're. Anyways, so I did.
It's pretty bad with the beard too.
It's
all over the beard. You look like Santa Claus.
Yeah, I can imagine. It was all over the floor. It felt legit, but it was good. Like those were tasty. It comes in like a bag of 3, and they're easy to eat. But I did it. I experienced it. It was great. But then the Joola event. So that next day we had like a conference. Everyone was in the room. This was actually a little bit smaller than I anticipated.
Okay.
For some reason in my head I was like, oh, this is a conference. This is going to be.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be like Diacon.
Like Diacon was just. I mean, how many people were at Diacon?
I think a few hundred.
Yeah, this
and
was.
It was like it was basically they turned the DPC into like a nightclub. So it was basically like a big nightclub with drinks and like it was wild.
Yeah, this wasn't the same
Okay.
atmosphere as that. So it was actually pretty tight. So they had the handful of pros there, and then they had Q, Chris, and I, and then Will and Pickleball Pirates were like the reviewers that were there.
Okay.
So so Keith Valentine, I had never met him before. And I didn't realize he was going to be there, but he was a really fun character. He was a cool dude.
That's Pickleball Pirates,
Yeah,
right? I was like, he's one of the first guys I ever saw on like YouTube because people were frying him. They were like, he'd post like 5-0s playing, and someone's like, those guys look like 3-0s. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah,
that was
I think that still happens. He said that was like part of his formula. He's like, I love it when people do that.
Oh, I'm sure that's
my
what
engagement.
It boosts his engagement. I'm sure that's what like made him boom. So.
But yeah, he was like one of the first YouTube creators, and so it was fun to see him there. And he was a really cool dude. But yeah, and then outside of that, like Pickleball Clinic was there, the kitchen was there, and
so you met Jared?
Jared wasn't there. It was
Jason
Aspis. Yeah, he was really nice too. I didn't talk to the Pickleball Clinic dudes too much, and then Brian Lim was there as well.
Nice.
So, but that was really it on the like creator side. Then they had some retailers, so Just Paddles was there, Total Pickleball, and then the Pickleball Superstore and Pickleball Central.
Okay.
So they had the retailers, and then, but like that was it. Like it was pretty tight.
Was it John from Pickleball Central? The short guy?
Yep.
Yeah, I met him at Diacon too.
Yeah, okay.
So he must
he
go
must
to
be
all
their
the
guy.
conferences. Yeah, he must go to all the conferences.
But yeah, so it was pretty this like intimate group, which is cool. So like we had chances to interview the pros,
That's cool.
get some FaceTime like I've never had with pros before, and
That's
so that was really neat. Like Ben is extremely laid back, and I you kind of get that sense from the videos he's watched. But
I mean, he does interviews on his bed.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he's I didn't feel like he was quite as engaging as the other people were.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was nice and all, but I think he was like almost like so laid back that it kind of came across as like almost like disinterest a little bit. But he was still definitely there. He was talking to you. The interview I had with him was cool. He was definitely down to play with everyone, really nice and friendly that way. So I actually played a game against him. He was lefty. He was playing with Will, and then I was on. I played with Isaac Olsen, Chris's brother, and he's a great player. He's a 5'0" dude, and Ben and Will beat us. Like I'm kind of embarrassed that he beat us.
Well, not like I've seen like in the Discord they're talking about like how he could beat like low level pros left-handed.
Yeah, he was really good. And
Did you see the point against Jack Sock where they went left-handed?
Yeah, well he went off the serve, but
yeah,
but he
like,
went left-handed. Yeah,
Jack Sock should have known better.
Yeah, well I mean
it's not the same.
Yeah, he could like legit
play
lefty,
yeah.
and it was really impressive. We were beating him, and they ended up coming back, and you could tell he started to turn it up a little bit. He's like, I don't want to lose these guys.
Yeah.
And but he ended up beating. I think the final score was 10-8 or something like that. But
10-8
or 11-8. Yeah, Ben only plays a 10.
I don't want to finish the game.
If he gets a 10, it's over. It's like we all know who's gonna win at that point. So it was fun to play him. I couldn't believe how good he was lefty, and then everyone else they weren't like I'm just like surprised how like normal and cool they are. Like Colin, Anna, and everyone, and Tyson, just very engaging in conversation. Like, and like no one like really talked down to you, and so it's fun to experience that.
Did Tyson call you big dog?
I don't have to go look at the video. But Tyson is so impressive on video. Like he's so engaging and animated, and like he's
he's like the people's champ.
Yeah,
he's like the Rock of pickleball.
Yeah, it was. But it was funny to like watch him in action. Like, okay, I can see why everyone loves you. Like you're so good at this, and I don't have that charisma on the camera he has, and never will, and I'm okay with that. But so we played with their paddles, and like they did like a that presentation on kind of the history leading up to this point in these paddles, and we'd all signed NDA agreements, and they like really emphasized this NDA agreement with us hard. Like they put the fear of God in me. Like
you will never touch another Joola paddle if you talk about.
They were like talking. I mean, they were joking, but like we will fine you. We will. I was like, I'm not sure if you're joking or not, but I don't want to have to deal with that. So I'm like scared to talk about the paddles period. But I always think it's funny that brands put kind of these embargoes on information, especially so close to launch. Like I guess they want to control the narrative a little bit, but I just felt like there was so many influencers and audiences there that like I was like kind of scared to post about just normal things.
No, and I feel like they missed an opportunity. They have all these big like dudes with big followings in the pickleball space. Let them hype your product right before release. Like it makes no sense to me to be like NDA unless your paddle sucks.
Yeah, that's what
like,
I was thinking.
Then NDAs make sense.
And well, it doesn't suck.
It doesn't
and
suck.
I think they knew it doesn't suck.
I don't know.
But
I'm not a marketing expert.
I do wish I could talk about it more. Like not talking about the technology, fine. Like I don't know like what the like specifics of the NDS. I'm just avoiding it all.
So are you allowed to let people play with the ones you came home with?
I think so. I've been handing them around.
Well, I know.
Everyone wants to try it out.
I didn't want to disclose that I've used those paddles.
It's not like it's not out there.
No, exactly. You've
like
seen it in videos. And
yeah, like it exists. People know what it looks like. But I was nervous about not coming home with more than one model. I was able to get multiple models. I ended up having extras. But when we first got there, like we walk into the room, they have like this big table of all the paddles, just stacks of them. And John just goes and snatches them all. I'm like, John,
one of each.
You just grabbing them? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I went and snagged them all without thinking I was being like a rebel, but they ended up having like a bunch.
Oh.
It was totally fine to
Did you get the Magnus?
Yeah, so I got the 14 and the 16 in the Magnus. The only one I didn't get the C2s, and I didn't get the I thought I got the 14 in Ben's, but I couldn't find it the other day. But then I got the both Scorpius models.
Ben 16 is fire.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that more in the future, but we're gonna pass on that for now.
Okay.
But this is another kind of fun topic from this. So we first day we did like open play for 2 hours, and then we had like scheduled like time with the pros to do like an interview, a video with them. So you get 15 minutes with each pro. You get to go book their time. And so I booked them all, and it was kind of like this like land grab. Like there wasn't like a dedicated spot to like interview them. You kind of just go set up your camera somewhere. So I ended up setting outside, and you just go find your person, be like, hey, come here, let's chat. And so I just graffiti bombed them. I pulled out my graffiti machine to measure the swing weight. I just wanted to see what their setups were. And some really cool conversations came out of it. So Ben and Colin in particular are setting up this paddle differently than they have with past models, because the paddle plays differently. And I thought that was cool. So they don't just do the same setup for every paddle. They do it a little differently. So Ben kind of talked about his like evolution of his lead tape setup, going from the Hyperion to this one,
to the Perseus, yeah.
And so that was fun. And then Colin he's a paddle nerd like us.
Oh, did you see the video when he was with Electrum? He'd like cut the grip off and use popsicle sticks. Yeah. And like he was like a paddle doctor. Yeah. Does he still have to do that, or
no?
Okay.
But he's definitely very intentional with where he puts the weight to get it where he wants. And so it was really fun talking paddles with him, because he knew what he was talking about. And but none of them knew what their swing weights of their paddles were. They didn't even know like what the ballpark was, and like that's such a big deal for a lot of people who are shopping for paddles. Yeah. And I thought it was interesting that they had no clue. And so we did their tape. I measured. I told them what their swing weights were, and they were like, cool. But like they just based everything off feel. They did have like target static weights. Okay. So like, okay, I want with this paddle, my static weight is this, and then they just kind of move the tape around or get the right amount then they just play with it until it feels good. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, none of them knew what their swing weight was, and so we discovered it.
I was always more of a static weight guy too for a long time. Just like I knew 9.25 to 9.7 depending on the paddle. I'm playing with lighter ones now and lower swing weights, but I used to always just be static weight, pretty heavy. But it's interesting that the pros are just how it feels.
Yeah.
They're also getting paid to use that paddle, so they're just, I mean, whatever feels good there.
Right.
Because if they like don't like the swing weight, because I mean you have that range, it's not like they can get lower than what stock is.
Right.
So
they most of them did say they request a lighter stock so they can
weight it up.
That
That
the
makes
way they
sense.
want.
And that, yeah, I like that.
But I do feel like swing weight and static weight is two pieces of the puzzle. Like, yes,
absolutely.
you can shoot for a static weight, but just because you're hitting that static weight doesn't mean you're getting the same balance that you've gotten from past paddles.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was interesting that they didn't consider that, and they just went off just completely off feel. And so I imagine that'll change down the road as things progress.
Well, after they talk to you,
now they know that.
Now they're going to be
they can
swing
actually
weight nerds.
Yeah,
Colin went home and Googled swing weight.
we talked tennis, and he was like very in tune with what his swing weight and measurements were for his tennis racket, but he wasn't quite that particular with this paddle. But anyways, I thought that was interesting.
That's cool.
And so I got all the footage, and this was like my first time out in the wild using my new camera, using all this new equipment I got, and the video was just I didn't quite get like the exposure and the setup and the blur I wanted when I was outside, and so the video didn't look great. And then
was it outside?
Yeah.
ND filter.
Okay, we'll talk. Talk.
So
I have a lot to learn there, but it was fun to go get some field experience. Like, that's just how you learn, just in the fire. So the video didn't come out quite like how I wanted it. And then with the audio, I was just recording internally into my DJI mics.
Okay.
So the audio for me worked every time, but when I handed the mic to them, sometimes they would push a button as they were putting it on, and so the audio didn't come in for like half the interviews. And so Chris gave me some tips on how to avoid that in the future. So unfortunately, the video and audio didn't come in as clean as I wanted. But I think what I'm going to do is, like, I know what all their setups are, so I think I'm just going to go set up all their paddles and just do a video.
Did you write down how they set up their stuff so you could like test how they play with it?
I remember. Plus, I still have the video. I can look to see how they set it up.
That'll be fun.
So I think I'm going to just do that. Just put it all in one.
Play with the pros paddles. Yeah.
So I think that'll be a cool video for everyone to go see how that's set up. But yeah, dude, that was that trip. I also pitched the. I guess before I jump over to that next topic, in case anyone's interested, the swing weights were all, other than Annabright, they all fell in between 118 and 122. So they were all pretty tight.
Yeah, tight. Yeah.
And I think 118 is a pretty common measurement that people like shoot for. Like, people like that weight, between like 115 to 118. I think amateurs would typically prefer a little bit lower, a little lighter, but 118 to 122 was what they all fell into, regardless of shape and what the static weight or like millimeter, like thin, if it was 16 or 14, they all end up kind of in the same ballpark, which I thought was interesting. And then the last thing I was going to bring up here, so Pickleball Superstore is there, Pickleball Central, Just Paddles, these guys are all there. So I pitched my tungsten taped wall.
Yes.
Right? And the guys over at Pickleball Superstore have this really interesting affiliate model that they're pushing. It's kind of like a multi-level marketing approach, and I'm gonna give it a try. I think it's
Pickleball
cool.
Superstore just did a thing with Flying Pickle.
Yeah, they have like a thing they can do with places like this where they set up their store online, but it's like reskinned as them.
Yeah, so you click on like Flying Pickle posts like online gear store. You click on it, but it's Pickleball Superstore.
Yeah. So they have that thing. Plus they have like what they're calling a super affiliate thing, and I think it's a pretty cool model. I'm gonna look more into that, but it looks like they're gonna carry the tungsten, which I'm stoked about. Just Paddles isn't, because they're just paddles.
Yep.
That's all they
like, we don't want tape.
And then I was talking to John at Pickleball Central, and they're actually developing their own tungsten.
I was gonna say he's gonna be like, oh, that's a good idea, and then went home and he developed his own.
Yeah, they're developing their own, and so that was a bummer. And I'm suspicious of Pickleball Central, and I almost get the feeling that they copy me in something. So I had a meeting with them like a year ago. They were pitching me on being an affiliate with them, and I was telling them all the stuff
all
I
your
was
ideas.
doing. And then like one of the cool things I do is my paddle quiz. It does really well for me. It gets a lot of action. And then a few months later, I decided not to do the deal. They came out with a paddle quiz.
Weird.
And then I know they're following me, and they start seeing me pushing. I'm curious if they saw me pushing tungsten, having some success there, if they're like, oh, maybe we should do it.
Well, they see you hopping on they see you creating trends, and they're hopping on the trend.
Yeah, but like,
and their resources are just bigger to reach more people.
Right.
So.
And I don't know if that's really the case, but I'm suspicious.
I don't know. It's big pickleball. I try not to support big pickleball.
But like, I was super bummed. Like, if that really was the case, and they were just trying to follow that trend there and go make their own thing, like, of course they're gonna make a little more money off it.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, you're Pickleball Central. You guys are making so much money, anyways. Like, making a few bucks more off of every tungsten sale isn't gonna move the needle for you guys. But like, them carrying my tungsten moves the needle for me
immensely.
And I was like, I wish you would just buy my stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna keep trying to get that in more places. I'm still having success with it. Got some new packaging coming out. I showed you.
It looks good.
Pretty pumped
It
about.
looks good. You guys are gonna like it.
Yeah, and then I'm bringing in the 0.5 gram weight option. So that'll
for you weak people that need lighter tape.
Weak sauce.
Weak sauce people.
But that was my trip, man. Yeah, more info to come on the Joolas. They're definitely a new breed. But let's hop over to Kyle's corner.
All right. So, local news first. Boise Parks and Rec has officially shut down one of the most popular parks, Manitou, on Sunday and Mondays completely to pickleball. You can play any other sport you want in that park, just no pickleball. And they also moved back the cutoff time for quitting at 7 p.m. It was already 8 p.m., even though it's light till 10. So now it's 7 p.m. closed for pickleball, and then you can't play Sundays and Mondays.
And what are the people saying?
Oh, there's petitions. I fired off some emails to the mayor, head of Parks and Rec.
You're leading the rebellion?
Oh, yes, absolutely. front lines. We're like, because my thought is, if this happens at this park, and we let it happen, it's going to happen to the other parks too.
What was their reasoning behind it?
Neighbors. But there's only like 6 houses at this park. So it's
just noise?
Noise, exactly. So why not build like an acoustic barrier? I mean, I know it costs money, but...
I mean, Sundays in particular is always a popular day. I mean, no one's working Sunday, or most people aren't working Sunday. So like, that sucks. And then is it evenings? They're closing at 7 p.m.?
7 p.m. every day. No pickleball Sundays and Mondays.
Like, okay, summers it stays light till 10.
Yep.
People are out till 10.
Absolutely.
But like, I can get like why those 6 houses are pissed. But yeah, there's got to be another solution, right?
No, exactly. Like, I feel like just shutting it down, because it's crazy, because the college kids can go down there and you can play spike ball and blast music until sunset, because that's the rule of the park.
Oh, okay. I see. So they're picking on pickleball.
Yeah, just pickleball.
Just because of the pop.
Yeah. But the way it's written, I can go set up my pickleball net on the basketball court. And
have you done it?
Well, it goes effective April 2nd, so I will be down there on a Sunday.
You're like one of those
messing
guys,
with the law.
Maybe one of those guys that like stand in front of the bulldozer. Like, this is your interpretation of that.
Yes, but for pickleball.
Do you think you're gonna win?
I've won before.
What other battles have you had?
Parking. They tried to tell us that pickleball players could not park at a certain park, but anybody doing anything else could park at the same spot. So I instantly called Boise PD and was like, listen, Boise Parks and Rec says this. What do you guys say? And they're like, that's crazy. You can park there.
Well, I hope you win this one, because that doesn't feel fair. And 7, even if you push that back to like 8, that's a lot for.
Well, 7, if you're normal working, like, we're not all retired. If you work till 5 or 6, traffic, you're not even going to be to the park till almost 7. Like 6-ish, you're going to get your shoes on. You're going to get one game and have to leave.
I mean, I guess if you're eating dinner during the pop, they're complaining, but they're not going to bed at 7.
No.
Like, I mean, what time? I don't go to bed till midnight. What time do you go to bed?
I wish I went to bed at 8, but I go to bed at midnight.
Yeah, it's just what happens for me too.
Fatherhood.
I think a lot of people go to bed, probably like what, 9, 10?
Probably 9 or 10, yeah. No, and 8 sucks, but 8's fine. 7's insane.
7's early.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I wonder if other people are dealing with this.
Yeah, I would love to hear in the comments what you guys have experienced with parks shutting down due to the noise, and if you guys beat the system or if you just had to suck it up and not play pickleball there anymore.
Okay, let me know. I'll come join you on your stand in front
on
of the bulldozer night.
Yes, let's do it. I'm gonna chain myself to the court somehow, to like a net.
Which be my saying? Like, what's my sign gonna say?
Free pickleball.
Free pickleball.
All right, next announcement, big one. If you guys are in the Northwest, this facility, Flying Pickle, is having a tournament on May 4th, $2,000 to the winner. It's a pretty big payout. And not to be rude, that's a pretty easy draw if you guys are like low-level pros. I think we should get this place packed with people playing. It's triple elimination, $2,000 to the winner.
Triple elimination? What's
So
that?
there's like there's a loser's bracket, and then if you lose, you go into like another loser's bracket.
And
so
you can come all the way back
and you
around?
can come back, but you got to win a lot of games. So it's going to be an all-day event.
Triple elimination. And they're doing like a round robin for seeding, right?
I don't know how many games of a round robin you could possibly do if you have to finish a triple elimination tournament. So
Yeah, they'll probably have to keep that small. But I like the idea of the round robin. Like you're getting warmed up, it seeds you.
yes,
And then the seeding is appropriate when you start, or at least better.
I think so.
Triple elimination seems like
Yeah,
a
that was
lot.
an interesting choice, but
yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so $2,000. That's
2,000. That's bigger than
Yeah.
like some pro payout.
Yeah,
Like,
I bet we draw in some people from
I would
regionally.
hope
Are you
so.
signed up?
I need to find a partner.
Have you asked around?
Not yet.
I
I got some people in mind, but
okay. Abe and I signed up for that one. My
nice.
Black Book of Boise boy.
yeah.
Dude, I'm losing my mind sometimes. Like, ever since I started doing this full time, like I just have stuff going on, and like it's hard to remember everything. And I the other day, I will. So like 2 weeks ago, Abe and I signed up for this May 4th event.
Yeah.
And then like a week ago, I see that Billy posted it on Instagram, like
Stay at his house.
No, just promoting the event. And so I took a screenshot of it, sent it to Abe. I was like, "Hey, Abe, we
Hey,
should
you
sign
wanna
up for this." He's like,
We're already signed up for it.
"We already signed up, bro."
That's funny. No, Billy also offered up his house
For people to come in?
Yeah, he said he'd host. So
Okay, well there you go. If
So-
you need somewhere to stay at Billy's. Billy's great.
that's awesome. Let's see what else. Draft predictions. We got the draft coming up April 2nd and 3rd.
This is MLP draft.
MLP draft, correct.
Give us the deets on that. So is this just Challenger? Is this
So there's two drafts. There's going to be a challenger draft, and the challenger draft snake, like a normal snake draft. The premier draft is like a bidding, where you like bid on your which slot you want.
Oh.
So do you like spend $1 million on
Whoever has
Ben?
the most
or-
money gets the first pick.
So I don't know if they have like a set amount. Like I feel like you would have to have a set amount of money, but maybe not because they need the money.
Yeah, they'll let
So
them
it's
just,
whoever's got the deeper pockets gets the better team, I guess.
So they already paid. The team's already paid to be in Premier.
Yes.
They already did that. Now they have to pay for the number
their
one
drafting.
draft spot.
Yeah,
Oh, geez, they're really making them fork out the bucks.
absolutely. I mean, gotta bleed them dry. We gotta get the money somewhere.
They'll have to do the Premier draft first, though, right?
Yeah, they are. The
Okay.
premier drafts first.
Because I was looking at the notes here, and for some reason I was thinking the Challenger was first. I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
No. Yeah, it's going to be – and I think you have to have signed up – I think Friday was the cutoff to apply for it because you had to apply to be in the MLP or whatever.
Okay.
Um,
like just the
there was like a Google
just the
doc.
people
There was like a Google Doc to apply to be in the draft.
pool
Yeah.
to be drafted.
Yeah.
So this is April 3rd.
April 2nd and 3rd is what
April
I have.
2nd and 3rd. Okay.
So
Yeah. What are your thoughts there?
I was looking at some of your notes. I agree. I think Andre is going to go pretty high.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best weekend in Miami, but he had a stellar performance at PPA, that last PPA.
Stellar is understated.
Yeah, so I think his draft stock has skyrocketed, and he's always been a great mixed player, so he's good at men's and mixed.
Yeah, he'll move up. Yeah, I had the idea of like, I didn't want to do like, oh, I think this person will go number 1, 2. I just said, okay, this person's stock rose, this person's stock decreased, and yeah, I had Andre's going up.
Andre's going up,
especially
for sure.
from recent performances.
Alshon, I agree with that.
Alshon's up.
His stock's up.
Yeah, he'll be. I bet he's like he's easily a top 5 male.
The only thing with him though is he's mentally like if things go south for him, he crumbles. But when he's hot, he's insanely hot.
Yeah, I feel like he's been hot more than.
And he has been hot a lot lately.
Yeah.
Since he switched to paddle tech.
The kid's got game.
I guess that's a decent paddle.
It must be. It must be.
You have Guy going up. I actually saw that Guy didn't even sign up.
Oh, really?
That was on one of the Discords. Somebody had said he had not put in yet.
So for those listening who don't know who Augie Guy is, he's kind of a new player on the scene. He's played. He's
I don't think
competed.
he's super new. He was in the Arizona Pickleball League.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe he's not a new name, but he's definitely lesser known.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But he's just started having some success. He's getting past first rounds.
Yep.
He had that 3rd place finish in mix with Tyra.
Yep.
He didn't even sign up.
That's what I heard. My source could be wrong.
I wonder why. Okay.
Tyra going up. I like that.
Yeah, Tyra's an easy one. That's
I
going
don't
up.
think so. Georgia. I don't know if the Johnsons are even going to be. They're still because of the contract stuff. Like they're playing AP. They all played APP, Miami.
So they're not contracted to do MLP, but there's still big prize money in it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see where that goes.
I guess if they don't have a contract, that means they don't get appearance fees.
So I saw something about MLP not paying prize money per MLP. So I wonder if it's only going to pay out at the end.
Oh, like the end of season.
Yeah.
Not like per event.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere. I could be wrong. You guys can correct me in the comments. I know you will if I'm wrong.
They will.
So roast me. But yeah, I saw that. What happened to Vivian Glossman? You're right. I haven't seen her play in a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
If she went off the radar.
I was just looking.
She's probably got a boyfriend or something.
Yeah, I was looking at the previous draft results and I saw her name on there. I was like, where did she disappear? It's same with like Irina and Kohler. I haven't seen them in
I think
ages.
AJ played recently.
Did he?
I think so.
I've seen his name.
But I don't think he played. I don't think he played very good though. I think he had a rough tournament.
He had a
I haven't seen Irina in a while either though.
Last year was a bad year for Kohler. Yeah,
that's true.
And I haven't seen him. But yeah, Irina, do you know what's going on there?
I haven't seen her, and she was the queen of MLP. So, I'd love to hear what you guys think about who's getting drafted where.
Yeah. Rohrbacher was another one.
So Rohr
she's going up.
She's going way up, and it's funny. I got to put my foot in my mouth because when Orlando Squeeze signed her, I was pissed because I wanted Susanna to go to the Squeeze. And I was like, who is this Rachel girl? I don't even know who she is.
I didn't know who she was
She's
either.
an animal.
Yeah.
Great pick. She's a powerhouse.
That was Anna Bright deciding to pick her.
Exactly.
And then they kept partnering together post MLP, and they've had a lot of success.
No, exactly. They just won.
Yeah.
So, what was I gonna say? PPA signings today. So there was also a big.
Okay, this is outside. We're done with.
We're done with the MLP.
Okay.
Let's talk about kind of because PPA and MLP are the same thing now. PPA signings: Alex, Trong, Hunter and Yates Johnson, Roscoe Bellamy, and Craig Johnson. Craig Johnson's the guy who plays with Guy.
Yep.
So they all had PPA signings pop up today on Instagram.
Good for them. That's cool.
Yeah, so they're getting paid.
I'm surprised Hunter and Yates weren't signed already.
Well, they've always been big APP guys.
Yeah, I guess so. Alex has always been an APP. So.
Well, no, and I heard they were talking. She actually was like on a podcast, kind of throwing shade at PPA.
And then they pick her up.
But then she moved to Utah, so she's in Utah now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I'm wondering if that's what led to PPA.
Got some influence.
Got some influence down there. So that's really it for the news that I got. Nothing.
So that means those guys aren't going to be able to. They're not going to do APP stuff.
They won't be doing APP
and
stuff.
just leave the door open even more for the Johnsons just to take all of APP's money.
Over and over. And Millie Rain, she's playing well too.
Yeah, she and Jordan. Did they end up winning?
They did.
They beat Susanna.
Yeah, they did. Susanna and Megan took silver.
Did you watch it? I didn't get to watch it. It was on like ESPN Plus.
So the most notable APP match I watched, Judith Castillo played like an absolute freak.
Doubles, singles?
Doubles.
Oh, this is new
you need to go back. Exactly. I was like, I've always seen her play singles, and she's great. She was like the most fun to watch in women's doubles I've ever seen. Like, it was awesome.
Like, what was she doing good?
Everything. Crushing balls, digging balls, all over the court. Like, she was like a bat out of hell. Like, honestly, go watch any of her matches. It was crazy.
Okay. I imagine they'll post it on there.
So, yeah, I
YouTube.
guarantee they'll put those on there. She was top 5 ESPN.
Oh, that's like better than top 10.
Yeah.
Go Castillo. She's friends with
Maria.
Maria, yeah.
Yep.
Maria's a local like coach in the area, and yeah, they got ties.
They do. I think they played. Because all of them went to that like Duper, the international one that was, I forgot where it was at, but yeah, they all went down there and played.
Nice.
So
all right, dude. We'll finish here with Paddle Babble and Gear. So I just want to talk about some upcoming releases and what I'm working on now in the review space. I've been traveling a lot. The last like 4 out of 5 weekends, I'm traveling again this weekend to go visit family for Easter. So I haven't been doing as much on the review front and just video front. It's been harder to keep up with that. But after this week, back into the fray there, and there's a lot coming out in April. And
you got a lot of reviews to get through.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do them all. I'm gonna have to be picky. But the one I'm working on right now is the Thrive Azul. So this is the one Thrive's the company in Vegas.
Yeah.
That we were hanging out with. So that is being launched for pre-order next week or I guess the day we release this, so Tuesday.
Okay.
And then it will be available to purchase, or I guess won't be pre-sale anymore 2 weeks after that. So I won't have my review ready for Tuesday. I'm going to have it later in the week. But the short and sweet for that one is it's the most power-oriented like Kevlar paddle I've played so far. And so it gives you a little more oomph, but it's more like approachable power paddle. It's still forgiving. It has a hybrid shape. It's not super heavy. It's not getting its power from, the weight or anything like that. And so I feel like as far as power paddles go, it's definitely more player friendly, more approachable. Okay. So if you want that little jump, it's an easy one to go from like all court to power instead of jumping like straight to a huge power paddle like the Engage Pursuits or something. So I think there's a space there. And then, we've talked about this in the past, but Thrive is doing the thing where you can specify the swing weight when you purchase it. And that is like super cool. And I think that is definitely a differentiator that they'll have going on. So I'll speak to those kind of aspects more in the review, but that's the short and sweet of it. That's going to be retailing for $200. If you do decide to pick one of those up, my code 10effect will bring that down to $1080. But I think that will be a good paddle that fits, not only because I have its own little niche, but I do think there's what they're doing with the swing weights is really cool. So that's the one I'm working on now, publishing soon. And then then other paddles in April. So Rhombus Pulsar FX series is coming out.
Have you swung it already?
I've done like the power tests and the spin tests. I haven't played games with them yet.
Okay. Somebody in the Discord asked me because I told them I'd swung the new Perseus, the Alpha, and they were like, "How's it compared to the FX?" I was like, "I'll have to ask Braydon because I haven't swung it."
I'll have to give them to you. They're a little heavier, but they are also doing like a different approach to technology that's unique to them, and so they got their own thing going, and that's coming out. And so they're going to launch with their R3 and R1 shapes, and then they're bringing back their R2, which is their standard shape. Yep. Their old R2 is like more circular. This one's more square shaped and it has the longer handle. So I like that they're bringing that back. I like to think that I'm helping push more for these standard shape paddles.
You're starting the standard shape revolution.
The revolution, baby.
Well, we had the standard, then everybody went elongated.
And I think people are starting to see the benefits. And I don't think it should all be one or the other, right?
No.
I do think people should consider that more
Absolutely.
than they have. And they are starting to. And I'm like, obviously, I'm not the only one that's a fan of that. Like we're starting to see at the pro level, and John Q has been an advocate for it as well, and Chris has brought it up too. That's like, okay, why now that paddles are a little more powerful, it brings life back into these standard shapes and makes them gives them more benefits that they just didn't have before with like the power. And
I can see
anyways, that. There's definitely a space for those, even though they're not for everyone. I do think they should be considered more. So anyways, they got that coming up, and then Engage decided to come out with a new.
I saw it come across. So there's like a bot on Discord that tells me anytime a new paddle gets approved. So when you put that note in there, I had seen it come across that it had been approved.
Okay.
But it's funny because usually it's got a picture of the paddle, but for this particular Engage paddle, it was just like a sheet of paper with like
like a picture of it or something?
like not even the paddle though, just like the paint design or whatever that's going to be on it.
That was all they needed.
That was it. So it said like, Engage S1 whatever, but like it was just like on a white sheet of paper.
Oh, funny. In Chris's Discord, he has a similar like feed and stuff.
Oh, he has the same bot. Yeah, they probably all use the same bot.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I do like seeing all those come through. It's fun. Dude, so many paddles get approved.
It's insane. There's so many brands that come across that I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, who's that?
It's bizarre. It's getting harder, I think, for new brands to create a name for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just going to keep getting harder. But we'll see what happens. But right now, I feel like a lot of the big brands and some of these like medium-sized brands, you guys are they're starting to get entrenched.
Absolutely.
So Engage Power Core is what they're calling it. So this is like their Pursuit series is already very powerful. It's
pretty hot.
And like this is supposed to be even hotter. So I don't know.
That's the theme of the year. How hot can we make the paddle?
We're going to talk about this more later when these paddles come out, because like is this good? I don't know. We're going to talk about more of that. But yeah, they're coming out with what they're calling a Power Core. So they're going to release it. It's going to be a new shape. Supposedly they fixed their handle. It's not going to be blocky, more octagonal, which I'm a huge fan of. Like their paddles, I'm a big proponent of them. I think they're fantastic. But there's just like little things here and there. It's like, I wish they would just make this better. And the handle is just so annoying because like they're 16 millimeters. It's just so blocky and big and annoying.
Yeah, and I have little baby hands, so
yeah. I mean, even if you have huge hands, like
it's not like a comfortable handle.
Yeah, and like these are $260 paddles. Like you got to get that right.
It should be premium. Like
But the performance has always been there, and I'm like, finally, they're gonna fix their handles. But supposedly all of their pros have been using this core in like live action, like they've been using
like
it
in the paddles that look like they're the older ones. But it's got the new technology.
Yeah, so supposedly they've been using it, and they've all like switched to it, so they're big on it. So that's coming out in April. Then you have the B&B Shogun.
Titanium carbon weave.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know yet.
They're the first to do that, I think.
They're definitely the first to do that.
Their first mock-ups had said like Ben's a nerd or something.
So yeah. So underneath Shogun, in Japanese, it said Ben Johns is a nerd. I think they did change it, because then the second mock-up, it was tennis sucks in Japanese.
And you have a coworker that's Japanese that can like confirm
this
for you?
Exactly. I work for a Japanese company, and I was like, my coworker doesn't know anything about pickleball, and I was like, hey, what's this say? And he's like, Ben Johns is nerd. I'm like, I was dying, and he was like so confused while I was laughing so hard. So I was like, at least they got it right.
They got cold feet.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Can you put something like that out there? I mean, I don't see it. If anybody's gonna do it,
maybe they're referring to a different Ben.
So that's true. There's got to be more than one Ben Johns out there.
Does that like Dud get cold feet?
So
that's another one that's coming out soon. Then you have pickle skins.
I saw the video of how you put them on. Did you watch that?
I've seen some. I don't know
Did you get them yet?
No.
Okay.
I did have a call with them though, and
I really want to try. It just looks like a sticker. Like I want to.
It does.
What is the durability going to be on that thing?
Yeah, that's the question. I don't know. So essentially, I mean, they showed in their videos. It looks like a sticker. So they have two shapes now. They have their new Hurricane shape, which is like your standard shape, and then they have their Vantage Pro, which is their elongated. And,
that's what Gabe plays with, right?
That's what Tardio plays with, yep. And so, you buy the paddle, you wear out the face that it comes in, and then you buy these replaceable face sheets, but they look like stickers. You just stick it on there, and it's supposed to refresh the grit. So it's not like a raw carbon fiber material. It's something else. I forget what word they use. It might be kind of that like adhesion type, proton-y thing. I'm not sure. Anyways,
like a polyurethane.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. And so there's a lot of questions behind it. Like I love the idea of it, because I do think that the grit is the first thing to go. Like when I buy a new paddle, it's because I want fresh.
You want your spin back, basically. Yeah.
It's not that the core gives out on me. It's usually the grit. And so if you can extend the life of the grit, the idea of this is awesome.
Yeah, the paddle longevity is like huge.
Yeah, it'd be huge. You save a lot of people, save a lot of money for people. Plus, it save like the environment. Like, there's a lot of benefits to this, and I think this is a big problem that paddles have, just the durability, right? Like, I feel like the next wave of once we get through like these big power paddles, the next wave of innovation has to be around durability.
I think so.
And things like that.
Well, then like another good thing about that, like if you are a tournament player, you show up, you slap on new grit right then. And then you just like you can play a couple games and slap on another if you want to, because they're only like $15 a piece, I think. So
yeah,
it's not like they're that expensive.
Yeah, so that's a cool idea. So some of the questions I have about that is, okay, what is the spin it's going to give you? Is it going to add weight? Because this is not replacing something. You're adding.
No, and like, do you peel? Because this wasn't explained. You put your sticker on. Do you peel that sticker off to put the next one on?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't go sticker on top of sticker?
Correct.
Okay.
But you do sticker on top of normal face.
But then, like, does the sticker change the deflection at all?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, are you? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the legalities of all of it, but I'm interested. And it's approved.
It's approved, so they must have tested for that. But yeah, like that's a great question. Like, okay, if spin's better, but does it change the way the paddles play? Like, if it's heavier, is it going to have a little more power? And all of a sudden, the performance of the paddle changes. Like,
I feel like it would have to change a little bit. Like, just even the compression of your core material, because you're adding more material to the outside, it's going to compress a little bit differently.
Yeah, you think.
But once you wear down that core material the face the one time, and you're on pickle skins, it would be consistent each time you're switching.
After that.
Yeah, exactly. So even if there is like a difference, so that's the thing. We're gonna have to get the paddle, play with the paddle, put a skin on, and see how they play together, and then see skin to skin if your results are the same.
Kyle's all about skin to skin.
Skin to skin.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions around that, but I am a huge fan of the idea, and I doubt it'll be right the first get-go, but I do like that they're taking a step in this direction, and it's only going to get better.
No, and it's innovative. It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
and even if the spin's not quite as good, but if it's a bump up from what
like a worn down
one, then it's probably still worth it. So love the idea of that. And then along the same vein, you have Reload. So do you know much about these guys?
I don't. You told me it's similar to the pickle skins, but you said they've been working on it longer.
Yeah. So Reload, I had a talk with them. That was probably a couple weeks ago. So they've actually been on this for like, I want to say over 2 years.
Okay.
Like this has been a journey for them, because they had to like change. They were part of the process of changing the like USAP
The rules
of
Makes
like
sense.
not being able to add things to the face.
To the face, yeah.
I don't know what the exact. I should have looked up what that rule was, but they.
Well, no, I
they were
thought
part
you
of, like,
couldn't alter
lobbying
the
for-
face at all. I think other than like a Sharpie or something.
Yeah, some sort of rule about you can't alter it, and so they had to change that. So the difference between them and pickle is you're putting on top of existing grit. With Reload, you're buying a paddle that's flat,
Okay.
and then you put the sticker on, and
See,
it's also like a sticker.
And that's kind of was another thing about the pickle. I was like, does the adhesion get worse? Because like you peel that sticker back off,
Yeah, I don't
then
know.
it has to leave some adhesion.
You
like,
think?
Do you just doog on it, or does it make that paddle reset stuff?
A lot of
Wash it
questions,
off. I don't know.
A lot of questions about these, but the idea is solid. I think they're solving a problem
Absolutely.
where a lot of these other innovations, like there's like I'm not big on like the end cap weights. Like I think it's kind of cool. That's not like solving a big problem like these are. But I think people are going to keep messing with the weight customization, because we're seeing some face weight stuff with Gamma and some other things there.
Yeah.
But I think these skins is a really cool idea and solves like a legitimate problem. So pumped about that. And then so really excited to see how those go. And like we said, like it's going to change. It's going to get better and better. I know like Reload's got an interesting model. Like they're going to do like a subscription model, whereas Pickles, you just buy them as needed. And so there's kind of like a different approaches
I
there.
don't know if I like subscription.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I change paddles so much too that a lot of us change paddles a lot. So,
Yeah.
but for somebody like the average person, they want the most life they can get out of their paddle. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
I could see that.
I don't think they know exactly what their pricing model is going to be, but I think they're leaning towards some sort of subscription. I don't know if it'll be like a yearly, like you buy in for a year and they just send you it out monthly. I do know that their face is going to be like a raw texture.
Okay.
Versus Pickle doing something that's not raw.
Okay.
But yeah, so some really cool stuff coming out, dude. Like
I'm
really,
excited.
really. I feel like I hear some people say, "Oh, paddle innovation is going to peak here this year," and I don't think so.
No, there's still tons
I
of things.
think
I mean,
there's lots of stuff you can do still.
yeah. Come on, we got face stickers
Yeah.
and titanium and well, I don't know what's going to be next.
Yeah, it's-
Granite. No,
Granite. It's just- but
that's great.
there's people are going to keep pushing it, and what they're going to find they're going like you have to keep innovating. You have to find some way to differentiate, and there's lots of ways to do that other than just power and control. So
Yeah.
and then I want to talk about the Vanguard controls real quick, just because I don't think I'm going to do a full video here. These were released like 3 weeks ago now. A little late on this, but Vanguard Control. We both know Selkirk. We live in Selkirk land.
I finally tried it. Okay. I was super against it. I finally grabbed a demo and tried it.
Okay, what do you think?
It still feels like an older paddle to me. Like it doesn't feel like I don't feel like there's anything super gained. I do feel like the spin is pretty good off it actually. I was actually surprised. It like good dipping drives and good serves, and I was like, okay. But I can get that with any paddle. A lot of paddles that are under $200.
Yeah, that's the beat they're getting, right? Like this is a cold press paddle. It's not using new tech, and they're charging $200. And to your point, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I can go get this same technology in $100 paddle from lots of different places." And it's true. Like, yes, you can go find like the same or similar paddle for $100, and a lot of times even cheaper in other places. But I think what Selkirk has going for them over those other brands is like they have three shape options and 2 weight options. So they have like 6 different ways you can kind of customize
it
and get the setup that works for you.
Yeah.
And I think that gives them an advantage for shoppers who don't want to go dig around. So like I may go find a cold press elongated paddle from a lesser known brand, but that's the only model they have. And they only have 1 weight option.
Yeah.
So, and say I want a standard shape that's lightweight, I have to go do a lot of digging, and then you're kind of in this murky land of like, is this a legit company? I mean, there's a handful of legit companies that just have like 1 model of a cold press, but they don't have all the options. And so if you're willing to go do the work to find the cheaper, similar model, like go for it. Go save $100 because they're out there. But if you're not a super savvy shopper, you don't want to spend the time doing it. I think Selkirk still has a value proposition of we got multiple weights, multiple shapes. Come here, find your
Exactly what
paddle
you
in 10
want. Yeah,
minutes.
exactly what you want. Here you go.
And so yes, it's older tech, but I also think, okay, this is advertised as a control paddle. I still think that technology
It plays like a control paddle for sure. Like,
is good for control
Yeah.
paddles.
no, and that's another thing too. Like control paddles, like how much more control can you get?
Yeah, like can you innovate more control?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Marketing wise, you can. Like,
Yeah.
Premium plush feel.
Anyway, so that's my thoughts on it. It's like, yes, old tech, nothing crazy new. The spin is good. I ran the spin test. They were actually.
Wait, what do they run at?
So I was getting.
Were they over 2?
I was popping over 2,000 on
Okay.
several of them, which I don't get on every paddle.
No.
So the spin was solid.
Yeah, I felt good. The spin, and that was the most notable thing to me. Is like, oh, this has good spin.
Yeah. And then I ran like the swing weight number. So the swing weights on the mid weights are actually still super like light.
Okay.
So like the swing weight on the Invicta midweight, I think was, I want to say 116 or 115,
Okay, pretty low.
which is really low for an elongated.
Did you
shape.
Did you try a lightweight too?
No, I didn't get the lightweights.
Okay.
Only had the mid weights. But I'm thinking, and the other two were lower. Like the Epic was actually, it was like 112, 113, which is actually a pretty good
So
place.
we're getting down there now.
And then the S2 was really low. And so if the swing weights were so low on the mid weights, if you're going to go buy one, I think get a midweight over a lightweight, just because I think the lightweights are probably just going to be too light.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's really a place for those. Like, just get the midweight. I think it's going to play better.
There's still a weird, and then that's another good thing about Selkirk is that lightweight. There's still a lot of people that I don't know why they want them, but they want lightweight paddles. And these are people that don't even weight their paddles up like us. These are just like
they just want lighter.
people at the park. They want lightweight. They think they want lightweight paddles. Like everything hurts their arm. You need a lightweight paddle.
We'll talk about arm injuries because that is a misnomer. I don't know if I'm using that right, but like people think, oh, lighter's better for arm, but that's not.
Yeah, it's a total
case.
myth. Yeah. Not.
Anyways, we can talk more about that later. But that's gonna finish us up for today, Kyle.
Bam.
We did it.
We did it.
That's episode 2.
We did actually one more thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We
tested the ball.
We did.
The Bizzer. What'd you think?
It was cooler than I thought. So we were like joking about how like silly it would look like a keychain and stuff, but it was actually kind of fun.
It is, and I could see this being used as a tool. I feel bad I roasted you guys so hard on these. I do feel like these could be used for a tool for hands battles. I would probably wear glasses.
Yeah, take one of those directly to the eye.
Yeah, that would not feel good. But it moves quick, and it does make you focus really hard.
Just because it's smaller.
Because it is. It's a way smaller visual target.
You got to dial in.
So I could see this being helpful for hands battles. But that's it. So, Beezer, I'm sorry I roasted you guys so bad in the last podcast. Your product's not worth $30, but it's cool.
Somebody else is going to come out with a $5 version.
Yeah. So,
well, there you go. Thanks for joining us all.
Roast us in the comments. I know you will.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Bye.